Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to Kiki's Kitchen. I'm going to do for you today something that I've actually done before, but honestly, it's just so worth repeating. And I'm out of it, so I need to replenish my supply. So I figured, as long as I'm making it, I may as well make a video and say hey to everybody anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm making my own breakfast sausage. Now that I make my own, I like the flavor of a traditional breakfast sausage, like, Jimmy Dean or whatever. But I like mine so much better. And I know exactly what's in my sausage. And I really like that aspect of it too. And mine is made out of chicken with some bacon. And so it's a little bit healthier because it's leaner. So here we go. And this is with the use of my trusty Kitchenaide. I love this thing. Honestly, you've heard me say it before, it's truly one of my favorite appliances in my kitchen. This is one of those things that you truly, if you don't have one, it's so worth the investment if you cook. If I cook all the time, right? So I have a grinder attachment, which is what makes this easier for me. On the one hand. On the other hand, you can buy ground chicken already done. So you can avoid this step completely as far as the actual grinding of this goes. And if you want to add bacon like I do, I grind it in with my chicken, but all you have to do is cut it up, mince it up, and mix it in with your ground chicken. Same thing. So you don't have to have one of these to make this, is my point. Long way around the block, sorry. What I'm going to show you is only going to take you just a few minutes for those of you who do have one of these things and are thinking about buying the grinder attachment. Here it is. This is what it looks like when you get it. I don't remember how much this is, but I don't think this one is all that expensive. I think it's less than $50. I really do, but I'm not sure. So this is what it looks like. And it comes out of the box like this, and it has this little, what do you call this thing? This is the barrel, I think is what you call it. This goes down inside of this, because you see these ends here, they're going to plug in to this ultimately. So we're going to put this inside of here, and then we're going to stick, I gotta put the blade on first, otherwise it won't have anything to stick to. So here's the blade that goes right over. There's like a nut in there, and it's perfectly shaped for that. So you can't go wrong. Put it right over the top of that. Now, there are two different size grinders. So there's this one, and then there's this one. This one's obviously the smaller one. So you pick which one you like. I like the smaller one when I'm doing sausage. So that just goes right over the top of that. And there you go. So you'll then have this end piece that simply screws on. Put it on there tightly, and now you're going to put this. There is a fitted space inside for this shape. So you just put it in here and kind of wiggle it around until you get you get this shape. Hold on. Well, she says this. Where are you? Oh, well, you know what? It might help if I take this out. Hello. How many times have I done that? Because this is what keeps it in here, this little bolt here. So if I wasn't putting it in there, I wasn't going to get it in there tight. So now it's in there, sorry, and I'm going to screw this back in so that it holds my grinder in place. So give it a little tight screw in there, and we're ready to go. It's really not hard. And of course all these pieces come in it. So now what I'm going to do is, excuse me, we got the timer going off. Sorry, but as you know me, I've got 13 things going on at one time. It's just kind of how I roll. So anyway, we've got the grinder up here, and now we're going to start grinding the meat. What I have here is about 3 pounds, I would say, of skinless, boneless chicken breast. So I'm going to start my mixer, which starts the rotation device in here to grind it. And I am just going to drop that down. And to tell you the honest truth, I really do need to cut this. Hang on one second. Ugh, I hate it when I walk off camera, y'all. So much more than you know. Okay, so it goes in easier if you cut it into smaller pieces, right? So that makes sense. And then we have, it also comes with the plunger, so we can push it down in there and get it started. And here it comes. This, I mean, seriously, you can skip this whole part of it. You don't have to have a mixer to make homemade sausage. And as I said, if you're making homemade sausage, there are no mystery meats in it. You know what's in it. And if you're making it with chicken, and I'm telling you, we're gonna add spices to it, and it's going to be delicious. All right, push it down. There we go. And you know, because I grind my own like this too, you know, everything is so expensive. It's just mind-boggling how expensive things are these days. And ground chicken can be $5 something a pound. You know, for 1 pound of it, you know, it can be $4 to $5, or some, in some places even more. You know, this was $1.99 a pound at Aldi. So, and even at Walmart you can get it sometimes, you know, for $1.99. I know in South Carolina, Harris Teeter will have it for $1.99. So, there, but you gotta go through the extra step of doing it yourself. But, you know what? I got nothing but time on my hands, so there you go. Just keep feeding this down in here, and I'm just cutting this. I know you can't see me cutting this, but you know, I'm just cutting it. But I will show you what I'm doing. Down in there it goes. Add a little move to it. And I add bacon just because, and I'll tell you the bacon that I add too, because you know, it would seem kind of sad to put, with the cost of bacon these days anyway, to put bacon down in here. But you are making your own sausage, and so that is probably a very good use of your bacon. But I get Swiss Premium. I know Swiss Premium does it, and different bacon companies. What's the other one? Anyway. But they put out a bag of the pieces and the ends, which is really good bacon. It's just not pretty, you know. So it's perfect for this. That's what I buy it for, is for this. I'm almost done. Here you go. The last piece, y'all. Hang in there. Push it through a little bit, give it an extra little bit of muscle. Okay, so this is my bag of bacon pieces and ends. And as you can see from this bag, and let me take it out here, these are nice pieces of bacon. They're just not the pretty pieces that you can put in the nice package. So they go beautifully in with my chicken. I love it. Plus, you get a really, like a 4-pound, it's like a 4-pound package of them for $5. So they're good. As I try to cram this thing full so that I don't take too much of your time. Keep going. But the combination of the ground chicken and the bacon and then all the spices that we're going to add to it, oh, it just makes a great sausage. And it doesn't taste like Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage. No, it does not. And I'm truly not meaning for it to. I'm meaning for it to taste like Kiki sausage. My kids love it. I will say that. Go on in there. I know you're probably tired of hearing this thing in the background, but we'll be done with it shortly. So hang in there with me. Actually, there's only one more little piece anyway. Get that all down there. The reason I wanted to finish this with you watching is because I wanted to show you how to disassemble it to clean it. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, but that thing is such a pain to clean. This is not. So we're going to let that continue to push its way through because I got nothing up here to push anymore. So it's all the way through. So it's working its way. The barrel is working its way for everything to get its way out there. And yes, there is fat in this bacon. And that's kind of the reason I'm putting it in here. Because the chicken is so lean, it needs to have a little bit of fat on it. You know, it really does. So, let's see. I think we're good. I think we're good. So, stop that. And I'm going to loosen my nut over here. And pull this out. I always say that because I'm on camera, you know. I never can do anything easily when I'm on camera, ever. Yeah. And I know you guys love that part. So I'm going to wash my hands so I can use two hands and I don't have greasy, and I'm going to get that off so you don't have to watch it. I'll be right back. I know it would be fun for you, but not today. I did have to fight with it a little bit, and you didn't really want to see that. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Still got the goop in there, right? So we're going to just unscrew this. And there is going to be some meat left here, although not much. Seriously. Sometimes there's a meat ring around the edge, and I just dump it in there. So we're going to push this from the back to get it out, and there's the ring of meat I was talking about. So this whole thing, if you look down in here, goes in soapy dishwasher or dishwater, boom, and it is completely clean through the elbow. And then this is the kind of ring. Careful when you take that blade off. It is a blade. It just cut all that meat, so be cognizant of that. So that's the ring of meat. And I am going to just put it in here, and I will mix that in with my hands. So now you have these pieces, and they all go in to soapy dishwater, and every piece is cleaned from top to bottom. So trust me, this is an easy thing. Hold on, let me put it in my sink real quick. And let me wash my hands real quick. We're having all kinds of comments about my cross-contamination. Which PS to that. Cross-contamination is truly a real thing, and you know, you can say a whole lot of things about my kitchen, but telling me that I'm not cognizant of health, kitchen safety, that makes me crazy, because I am very cognizant of that, not in my kitchen. So here we go. We are now, so we're going to take our meat here for a second and just slide it aside. And now we're going to mix up all of the spices that we're going to mush in here, and then we are going to take a ice cream scoop so that we get all the same pieces. We're going to lay them out on a piece of parchment paper on cookie sheet, and that's how we're going to freeze them. So let's take it step by step. So as I told you, I had about 3 pounds of chicken, and I would tell you I had close to another pound of bacon. This recipe as written is for two pounds of meat. I've got about 3.5 to 4, so I'm going to double it. Big surprise, right? So here we go. This is calling for ground sage, by the way, which is what it calls for, is calling for 3 teaspoons of dried sage. Well, again, I'm gonna go probably 6 because again, I've got twice the amount of meat as what the recipe calls for, and because I've changed, this is a recipe that I found years ago, and I have changed it to, and I expect that you do the same thing. I would love for you to change it. If it's got too much of something in it or not enough of another thing, you may like more garlic in yours. You may not like red pepper in yours. The brown sugar may be too sweet. You can use, by the way, because it does call for brown sugar, so you can use brown sugar substitute too if you're diabetic or have those issues. So here we go. This is calling for 3 teaspoons of dried sage. So there's 1 and kind of 2, I believe. We are at the end of the line for that one. Get another one. Okay. 3. Obviously, this doesn't have to be an exact science, like baking for sure. 5 and 6. And then we want 2 teaspoons of granulated garlic. You've heard my spiel on garlic. I know you don't. You're done with hearing my spiel on garlic, but I use granulated garlic exclusively. I don't use powdered or garlic salt because I think you can control the garlic flavor with granulated garlic much better and easier than you can with garlic powder, which to me tastes like chemicals, and garlic salt, which then if you've got salt that you have, it's asking you for like kosher salt, all I can taste is the salt and garlic salt. So the next thing it's asking for is so that was 2 teaspoons of garlic, granulated garlic. So now it's asking for a teaspoon of kosher salt. So we'll put in 2. 1, 2. The same with black pepper. 1, 2. A tablespoon of brown sugar. Don't you just love this? My friend Kimmy gave me this, and I love it. Okay, so, and you don't have to be exact, but of course you can see that I'm pressing this in here because whenever you use brown sugar, I'm going to actually put a little bit more in. You want to make sure it's packed or pressed. So we'll get that later. And 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Well, we kind of like it a little spicier than that, so I'm going to probably go with a little bit more. You do it how you want to do it. And then a pinch of cloves, a little bit of cloves goes a long, long way. So I'm going to do just a little pinch of cloves. And I am going to add a little bit of fennel in here. Now all I have is this whole fennel. You see that? And that's a little bit too much for me. So I'm going to take a teaspoon, fingerful of it, or two. And I'm putting it in my coffee grinder, which, to tell you the truth, I don't ever use for coffee. I use for nuts, or I use for spices. So this will make this into ground. There we go. It just breaks it up so that you don't get a mouthful of fennel. Makes it into a powder. Oh, and that smells so good too. Hang on one second. I'm so sorry. So that ended up being kind of a scant tablespoon, but I'm telling you, fennel is that taste of sausage, that sausage in the background flavor you got going on there. So now I'm just going to take all of these lovely spices and just kind of mix them up together so that I don't have a mouthful of brown sugar and a mouthful of red peppers or garlic. I want it to be as evenly distributed as possible before I mix it in to my meat mixture. I gotta tell you, I love spices and herbs, and that just looks delicious. It truly does. And I'm gonna taste it. I'm gonna put a little bit of that in this. It's really, really good. It's gonna be some really good sausage, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna take my rings off, simply because that's a mess. The key is trying to remember to put them back on. Put you back here for a minute before I clean you up. And in we go. I'm going to take this, I'm going to sprinkle some over the top, about half of it, and I'm going to just start folding it and mixing it in. This makes such good sausage. I have my friend, my BFF Denise, she makes it about once every, I'm going to tell you 6 weeks, maybe probably about once every 6 weeks. And she freezes it and she takes 2 or 3 out every day for breakfast. It is a good, healthy breakfast. Okay, so now I'm doing the squish. The technical cooking term is the squish, the mush. Okay. Now for the rest of it. All aboard. Again, I want to fold the top because I don't want it all to stick to my hand. I want it to get into the meat. So let that get into the meat first. There we go. Now, the squish. The mush. And you really, really want to mush it good because, and keep it moving, because you really want the spices to evenly distribute. You don't want to have one pocket of spice anywhere. All right. So there you go. All, I believe, pretty good. So now I'm going to wash my hands and come back to you and get this ready to go in the freezer. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just patting them up here, and all I'm doing is I'm using an ice cream scoop. Use whatever size you like. This kind of works for me, but use whatever size you like. And I do this so that they're all kind of the same uniform size, right? So I'm just kind of filling it up. And then I'll put it on the cookie sheet. And when I put it on the cookie sheet is when I'm going to flatten it out. Kind of make it in a sausage roundish. There is no right or wrong way to do this, y'all. You make them the size that you want. If you want them smaller, fine. Bigger, fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the freezer on this cookie sheet and let them freeze until they get nice and set up and hard. And then I'll take them off the cookie sheet and put them in a Ziploc bag. At which time, in the morning, I can just take them out of the Ziploc bag and either put them down in the frying pan and fry them. Sometimes I put a little oil in there. I'm going to just stack these up. So I'm going to put another piece of parchment right over the top of that. Sometimes, like I said, I put a little oil down in my frying pan because really they're so lean. Sometimes they need a little jump start, but not always. Sometimes I don't. So just making little sausage rounds, and you know, you cook them for a few minutes on one side, flip them, cook them for a few minutes on the other, and oh my goodness, they are so good. And it really, like I said, especially if you don't grind your own meat, I'm going to actually put them down in here and transfer it over. Maybe a little easier. I'm all about whatever makes it easy. Doing it in my hands pretty easy. But these are so good and so handy in the morning. Or at night. You know, my husband and I, especially in the summer, we eat different. In the summer, we just don't, you know, in the winter, good old warm comfort food is just so wonderful, right? But in the summer, we like things a little lighter. You know, he works in the heat all day, and so when he comes home, he is not really going to want a big old heavy hot dinner. I can give him breakfast for dinner, and that delights him. He loves breakfast for dinner, especially if I do, you know, big old, you know, bacon and sausage and eggs and all that. That's his kind of dinner, that's for sure. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to get all of these on this second row. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to put them in the freezer. And I'll leave them there. I'll put a piece of parchment over the top of them, and they won't dry out. They'll be just fine. And then tomorrow morning, I'll probably take one out, and then I'll put them in a Ziploc and put them in the freezer. It's just easier to store that way. So you can see where I'm going with this. Please don't send me a comment that said I didn't get to see the end of the video, because this is the end of the video. You're not going to see them fried up because I'm not having breakfast tonight. You may see them. I may show you tomorrow how I took them out and put them in the pan. If I think about it. Sometimes I don't always think about it. And then the other thing is, sometimes when I'm making breakfast, I'm so pretty. You don't want to see me in the first thing in the morning. I can promise you that. You want to wait until I've had a minute to prepare myself. So you may or may not see this, but this is what it is. And like I said, fry it up and create your own end to this video. So I'm going to let you go. And I sincerely hope you try this, because these are so good and they're so good for you. I'll see you soon. Bye.